there, what's happening? It's Griff Hamlin here from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Welcome and thanks for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to do what I just did. Not note for note. That's not really how I do things. I mean, obviously in a lot of my lessons I do show you things note for note, but we're going to look at this more conceptually. And what we're going to do, this area right here around a second string root. So if I'm in the key of A, as I am, and I'll show you the chords I was playing over too, because they're kind of fun. I'm using this A here as a root, as a cornerstone, right, of everything, because I'm playing in the key of A. Well, there's a couple of patterns. If I put my first finger here, I think a lot of us are more comfortable putting the third finger here, because then we get like the 4-note solo pattern. Or we, work our way down from box 2 of the pentatonic scale into box 1. And there's stuff that you can do, but if I tell you to put your first finger here, things might get a little funky. And what I hope you already know is something that I call the house pattern, or the major pentatonic scale that I'm going to sort of mess up a little bit. So there's really 3 patterns that are going to all intersect right here. So this is home base, right? And the 3 patterns are the minor pentatonic scale from here, which is going to be box 3. So A, C, D, E, right? G, E, D, C, A. G, E, D. I don't play there. You've probably heard me say before, a lot of, blues solos don't happen in the basement. Yeah, sometimes you might play notes down on those bottom couple of strings, but it's pretty rare. And you'll notice when I played on the way in that I didn't really play down there. So that's one of the sounds, the minor pentatonic sound. And of course you could play the blue note. And you can totally do that. One of the other really cool sounds right here is the major pentatonic sound. And from right here, that would be what we call box 4. So it'd be 1, and then the B, and then you got to shift a little bit to get the C sharp, E. And as I go back down, F sharp, E, C sharp, B, A. Now, one of the things I want you to keep in mind is that note right there. That's the 6th of the scale. So from the A, that's the F sharp. You can take the minor pentatonic, but instead of the G, you can play the F sharp. And you get a really cool sound, particularly over the 4 chord. So you're going to hear me do that, probably. I do it without thinking about it because it's just such a common, cool sound that I stole from B.B. King fair and square, so therefore you should. All right, and then the last sound that we can play right here is what I call the house pattern, which is no scale at all. And I've done other videos in the house pattern, so I won't make a big deal out of it. But I have the A, the F sharp, the B, and the B bends to either C sharp for a major sound or C for a minor sound. And then the D and the E. And of course I can mix these all together. So I could have I could be thinking that I'm in the house pattern, but then I could play a blue note and then some minor stuff and then that 6 from the other scale. I can mix all of this stuff together. There's all of these different sounds in this one little spot, okay? And so and of course I could even turn it around, right? And I could do all that other stuff too, but I don't want to get carried away. I want you to get this one cool area of the fretboard down. Okay, so we've got all these different sounds. Cool, great. And right away, you might already be like, dude, what am I gonna do with 4 different scales all in one little spot? I get it. We're gonna just try and work with 1 or 2 at a time, right? You always wanna try to just isolate. if you're not comfortable playing minor pentatonic right there, remember the soloing levels, right? Level 1, minor pentatonic. Boom. So if you're not comfortable playing a minor pentatonic right there, you need to get on learning yourself your box 3 and get comfortable playing that there. Because if you're not there yet, the rest of it isn't going to make sense. Assuming you can do that and you feel pretty comfortable with that, then the next step would be adding in like the major pentatonic sound, the box 4. So you might have to go spend some time practicing your box 4. You might have to spend a little time practicing your house pattern. Now, admittedly, you don't need the house pattern. Like if you use the pentatonic sound, the pentatonic minor, and the pentatonic major, you're gonna get all of those notes. Like all of those house pattern notes are gonna be from a major or a minor pentatonic. Once you've blended the major blues and the minor blues scale together, there aren't any notes left. I mean, there's a couple, and they're not very useful. That's why you don't use them. They don't sound very good usually. So, I mean, you think about it, like if you add all of those notes together, it's like 9 out of 12 notes. So there's just not that much left. The sharp 5, the flat 2, and the major 7th are all that's left. And those are going to be, at best, a passing tone, right? So let's say that you're playing over a blues. Now, I was not playing over a traditional blues, a 12-bar blues. I had some fun with it. I played a little jazzier kind of phrase. It was A to A7, just 1 bar of each, to D. And then I went to a D sharp diminished 7. So if I take D7 and I move the D to a D sharp, then I get D sharp diminished 7. So all of those got 1 bar each. So 1 bar of A, 1 bar of A7, 1 bar of D, 1 bar of D sharp diminished 7. And you can make the D a D7, and then a D sharp diminished 7. And then 2 beats each of a 1-6-2-5. A, F sharp 7, B minor 7, play it however you want, E7. And then 2 beats each of A, D7, for my turnaround, A7, and E7. So it's an 8-bar form. 1, still the 1 chord, but 7th. 4 chord. The 4 chord and a half diminished. I don't know what to call that. Back to the 1, to the 6, and I made it a dominant 7th, to 2, to 5, 1, and 4, 1, and 5. Okay, and that's what I put into my looper. So, just so you know what I'm playing over. So what I'm going to do, if I turn on my jam track from my looper, I could play the minor. I could play that the whole time, right? That's, you know, what I call level 1 of sophistication. It's the simplest sound. But it doesn't sound as cool. So we might want to add in a little bit of the major sound, but we can only do that over the 1 chord. Now we gotta go minor. I still got a B minor. Now notice that when I did that, you might think, wait, you used the house pattern. But I only bent it a half step. So it's okay. If I went, then I get sort of a major sound. So remember that the house pattern kind of works for both. It's a really subtle difference, but it really, really does matter. Notice also that you'll hear me do this a lot. I'll take that minor, and I said instead of the flatted 7, the G, I play the F sharp. So you might have noticed, particularly over the 4 chord, I'll do that. Right, so that little thing right there over the 4 chord is the F sharp, A, and now I'm square in box 3. Right, A, C, E, E flat, D, C, A, F sharp. You can sort of mix and match those any way you want. And basically, over any chord except the A, I use a minor leaning sound. So whether that be the minor pentatonic, the minor, meaning the half step of the house pattern, or the minor, but borrowing that 6th note, which is always okay. Those are going to be my options over any chord except 1. 1 chord is the only time I can use the major versions of the sound. But the cool and the fun part here is that you notice that from this 1 root note, I'm not flying all over the fretboard. Okay, this is one thing I hear a lot. How do I master the whole fretboard? Well, first of all, don't. First of all, just put that out of your mind. Master 1 small part of the fretboard. Okay, it doesn't help you to learn a scale all over the fretboard without using it. Okay, there's a reason that, like in my Blues Guitar Unleashed course, you learn the first box and then you play solos with just that first box. And then we add on the second box. And then you play solos that use just that region. And then you add on a little bit more, the third box, and you play solos that add on that little extra bit. You don't want to first learn all 5 boxes and then go try to learn solos. It's really hard to map the shapes to the musical ideas when you do that. So what I much prefer is to have you take a single small area, exactly like what we're doing here. You're taking this one small area and getting used to some sounds. And if all you get out of this video is that little move, well then it's a good video. You got a new idea. But I can have a very major followed by a very minor. But I don't have to go all over the fretboard to do it. And I really want to encourage you not to try to just go all over the fretboard to do that kind of stuff, because it's really not what's going to give you, I don't think that's going to give you what you want. Yes, you do want to have facility all over the fretboard, but you're going to do that by choosing small battles, one area at a time, one root note. Work around that. Work around, being able to play these different sounds around that one root note, then moving on to another one and getting to where you can play all that stuff in another place. That's going to be a much more efficient way to do it in the long term. So hopefully with this video, what you've seen is that you can play a lot of really cool different sounds that you may not have used before, right? Most people, they learn the first box of the minor blues scale and they just slide it down 3 frets and call it the major blues scale. And that's great, but there's a whole lot of fretboard left, right? So, using boxes 3 and box 4, that's pretty odd for a lot of people. So hopefully, if you've not spent much time working with those 2 shapes, this will give you some impetus to do that. And I hope you'll have some fun with it. And hopefully you learned a new chord progression too. So if you have friends that you think would dig this video and are guitar players, I hope you send it to them. As always, I'm Griff Hamlin from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you again real soon. Take care.